Hey everybody, how's it going? Hope you're having a lovely day. Welcome to today's episode of How Are You Getting Fucked? I'm your host, Louis Rossman. Today we're going to be talking about a new job ad that showed up for SIE, otherwise known as Sony Interactive Entertainment, for a Director of Client Partnership Sales. One of the main things that it says here, what you'll be doing, define and drive the global client partnership strategy, translating SIE media solution priorities into scalable partner frameworks and multi-year growth plans. Develop and execute growth strategies that expand Sony Interactive Entertainment Media Solutions advertising business with non-endemic brands, with a focus on scaling demand across programmatic and emerging ad solutions. So let's just talk a little bit about what endemic means here. When they say endemic versus non-endemic, if you're playing a game on your PlayStation and you see an advertisement for a different game controller, for instance, when I was a kid, we had normal PlayStation controllers that just had the D-pad, and then a few years later, they came out with the controllers with those analog sticks. So if I'm playing a PlayStation game, I'm not saying this is okay. I'm not saying I approve of this. But if they show me an advertisement for the new DualShock game controller that has the two analog sticks in it, that would be an endemic ad. If I'm playing Need for Speed Hot Pursuit and I see an ad for Chef Boyardee, I see an advertisement for Newport cigarettes, that is a non-endemic ad. So non-endemic means in this particular context has nothing to fucking do with what it is that you're actually watching. Again, I'm watching Seinfeld and I see an advertisement for a Seinfeld comedy show. Endemic, I'm watching Seinfeld and I see an advertisement for State Farm. Non-endemic. So the reason that this is troubling is because you've seen how they have tried to take away ownership over the past few years, and I shouldn't even say past few years, we've seen it over the past 22 years. In 2004, Sony put rootkits in CDs to keep people from being able to rip what they legally bought and paid for. In 2023, they took stuff out of people's libraries that they had purchased, not rented, purchased. They did give the content back a week later, but then several years later, they took it away again. Sony has also transitioned out and away from physical media, announcing that they're going to be phasing out physical discs, yet another step in the you will own nothing and be happy world. And at the same time that they're doing that, they're trying to figure out how to put more ads into the products that they have. And the reason that I say they're trying to do that is because even though they haven't made an announcement yet saying that you're going to see ads inside of the PlayStation games and inside of the PlayStation experience, how many people here put up a job ad for $200,000+ a year for somebody that was going to do work that they weren't going to use? Exactly. You don't put up a job ad for starting at $224,000 a year for somebody to do work unless you intended to actually use that work. And the reason that I find this to be offensive is because when you take a look at the platform, the PlayStation costs money. PlayStation's monthly, I think it's PlayStation Plus, something like that. The reason that I'm not familiar with the name of it is because I would never in a million fucking years pay to subscribe to play a game. They have a service that you can pay a monthly fee for, and that has gone up in price. So you're already paying for the console. You're paying a monthly fee in order to use certain things in the console. They've continuously upped the price of that on the console. They have taken physical media away from future consoles. And after all that, they are hiring somebody to figure out how to have non-endemic ads inserted into their products. This wouldn't be the first time Sony did this. There was a game called Wipeout HD that came out around the time that I was graduating high school, and that game had ads in it. I believe it was something like something seeming to advertise State Farm. Correct me if I'm wrong. This game had so much blowback that Sony just didn't do it again. And I think they're realizing the landscape in 2008 and 2009 is massively different than the landscape in 2026. Back then, when people bought things, they felt like they owned them, and people thought, hey, I'm paying $50 for a game. I'm paying $10 or $20 a month for your cloud service. I don't really expect to see an ad here. But when you see Amazon put ads in their music, and you see Amazon put ads in their videos, and you see other companies putting ads in things and getting away with it, and people continuing to use the service, and even judges saying that you're allowed to do that even though the service was sold to you without ads, why not get in on the action? I think that Sony's trying to get in on the action. If they do try to get in on the action, I hope that as many gamers as possible watching this decide that they are going to enjoy the many hundreds of thousands to millions of classic games that came out between 1983 and 2006 before anybody started doing any of this shit. One of the things that I'm very appreciative of is when I play Tetris on the plane, when my girlfriend visits and we play Mortal Kombat 2 emulated from N64, is that there are so many amazing games that came out between 1983 and 2006, 2008, where there are no microtransactions, they don't connect to the internet regularly in order to work, that are genuinely good. Like, I have so much fun playing them, and I don't have to deal with any of this shit. And even if I were to quit my business, sell my business, quit my nonprofits, stop making YouTube videos, and just retire altogether, I would not be able to play 5% of the amazing games that were made before any of this stuff was a thing. I'm hoping that if they just keep pushing, that instead of tolerate this kind of crap, people realize that there were so many millions of games made that were, and many of them were just absolute bangers before any of this stuff existed and start exploring those and enjoying them rather than dealing with the experience of everything being an ad. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Do you think Sony is paying over $224,000 a year to hire this person for no reason, or do you think that they're being hired to try and figure out how to put non-endemic ads into the experience of the games and the console that you already paid for? And how do you feel about that? Let me know what you think in the comments down below. That's it for today, and as always, I hope you learned something. I'll see you in the next video. Bye now. And do me a favor before I leave, last thing, do consider contributing to the Consumer Rights Wiki, where we keep track of all these things as they happen in real time. See you in the next one.
We also have the duty not to infringe the IP rights in the process. It is in fact the manufacturers who have the relevant rights, not consumers.